Yeah, which is not as bad as the time when I was streaming on Twitch, and I think I told you where I left the stream up and I'm like sitting there like no shirt on, like brushing my teeth and whatnot. Like
It could have gone bad, so it's good that it actually worked out that way, but could have got a lot weirder, a lot faster.
could have someone was trying to like warn me, but I
Yeah, they're
wasn't
like,
checking
"Oh."
my messages.
But also, let's see how this plays out. Let's see what he's actually willing to do here. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Plastic Cards Podcast. My name's Fonzie. I'm joined by my indie game dev co-host, Gavin Jones. Gavin, it's been a day, and I appreciate you being here with me as I lose my mind. How are you?
I mean, that's what mines are for. You got to lose them constantly. No, I'm good. Very good. By the way, it reminds me as I'm recording the audio for this last podcast. Apparently, I never stopped.
Oh,
So it
God.
just like it recorded like a 6 hour long. Like I was shutting down my computer at like midnight, and
Yeah.
I see the progress bar going still across with Audacity.
That's awesome. And is your computer just like glowing red, just like trying to keep up with this audio file or something?
Yeah, which is not as bad as the time when I was streaming on Twitch, and I think I told you where I left the stream up and I'm like sitting there like no shirt on, like brushing my teeth and whatnot. Like
Yeah,
someone
it could have gone bad, so it's good that it actually worked out that way, but could have got a lot weirder, a lot faster.
could have someone was trying to like warn me, but I
Yeah, they're
wasn't
like,
checking
"Oh."
my messages.
But also, let's see how this plays out. Let's see what he's actually willing to do here.
How quickly can we get this man banned off Twitch? Because that has happened before for people.
I'm
So
sure.
it's got to be a more obvious way to let you know. But anyway, but yeah, been good. How about yourself?
Yeah, been doing all right. We hung out this weekend, got to watch some UFC. That was pretty dope, but it was a cool fight.
You did.
It's fun
Saw the
to.
most video game uppercut of
Yeah.
all time.
Yeah, I forget the name of the guy. It was Cody Garbrandt, I want to say. He's the one who he ducked in this, like, it's right at the end of the round too, and then just came up with this just fucking Street Fighter punch. It was nuts.
Was that the last round of that fight too?
I want to say last round of the first fight. Yeah, it was, and it was like right as he knocked him out, the bell rang for that end of that round. But I mean, the fight was over because yeah, the dude was out cold. It was pretty nuts.
Yeah, like they could have given him till the next round to recover, and he still would have been out. That's
Yeah,
how
no,
out he was. That was.
right.
Ooh.
Yeah, and luckily they have doctors there, so they check him each round. So it's like, and he watched that
Yeah.
like we all did. He's like, yeah, there's no, I don't need to go in there, get that guy to the hospital. There's no next round. Like, we're done here.
Right. That was sort of like the most relatable punch too in UFC, because normally you watch these guys get punched in the face and you think, man, if that were me, I'd be out cold. And in this case, that guy was like, yeah, me too, bruh.
Yeah, and I'm a professional here. I can't handle that.
But yeah.
Yeah, it was dope. And I cooked you a steak. I feel like I didn't fuck up that steak, right? It worked out, but you had that
Oh,
little thermometer thing going. I think that was the key.
I don't think my thermometer helped because we checked the temperatures with your thermometer and it was quite a bit different. And then we just went with yours, and so I probably just need new thermometers. I mean, it's handy when I'm doing trying to do my reverse sears, but again,
Yeah.
we're getting vastly different temperatures, so maybe I need to go way lower. I don't fucking know. Um,
It's also a
but
lot
that
of like feel with steaks. I mean, or with cooking in general, it's kind
yeah.
of like, yeah, you rely on temperature, but it's also a strong, like, just feeling it out kind of thing.
Right. I don't know. After that, it kind of makes me want to get like a better barbecue. That being said, I do have a barbecue. I can use it. I just never use it.
Mm.
But I was talking with my brother-in-law this weekend, and if I can get them a sweet deal on like a nice big Traeger, they'd give me their smaller Traeger, and
Oh.
I'd be so fucking down for that. 'Cause they love it. They actually their stove is out, and
Ah.
they no shit baked a birthday cake in it, and
All
it
right,
was
come on.
dope. I
Really?
didn't think you
Wow.
could do, and it didn't. The thing that blew, I was like, "What is a smoky tasting cake gonna be tasting like?" And
Yeah.
it didn't taste smoky. It just tasted like a birthday cake.
Gotcha.
So
Is
blew
that
my mind.
is what's key to that is, I imagine, making sure your Traeger is clean, so there's like no residual stuff in there that's gonna impact the smell. Um, or they just smoke it up and then it's fine. You have a barbecue birthday cake going.
Buddy, I got no idea what they did.
That's amazing. I mean, that I guess that shows with the Traeger like how much you can control the temperature, and because that's key with baking. You have to have proper temperature.
Mhm. Yeah,
Wow.
this episode not sponsored by Traeger.
We will
But
take
we
some free
would.
stuff, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
Nice,
that
man.
was a trip, man.
Dude, we'll just
I don't think
go
I've go ahead.
roasting and barbecuing and go full dad mode for both of us. We'll mow our lawns, we'll grill some stuff, we'll just
Exactly.
fucking, yeah, just live the life.
We'll be living that, and we'll figure out if we're both going full dad mode. We're gonna figure out how we can make that dad video game that you want to so badly make, and you should just make in dreams.
Man, dreams is so fucking, it's complicated, but if you master it, people can make awesome things. That's not me. I have a hard enough
Yeah.
time just, using basic programs. But yeah, somebody's got to make that dad game. But I don't want to reveal to anyone because I want to be somehow, the person making it. I don't know how it's going to be done, but it's going to be fucking awesome.
That's the thing you have to understand, Fonzie, about video games ideas is, and there's like talks at GDC about this. No one's gonna steal your game idea. That is it, because
Yeah,
if
this one's so
anyone out
shitty. Of course,
there,
no one's going to take it
no, no,
too.
no, it's not that. Literally, it's like if anyone out there has the talent to make your game idea, they already have their own game idea, and they're gonna go make that.
That's true.
So that's
Or it's like because there's a lot of skating games coming out now, kind of the same vicinity around each other. Like I wonder if as I start making my dad game, there's like 3 or 4 other dad games coming out at the same time. It's like fuck,
the
it's hard to
Tony
compete.
Hawk of yeah,
Dad games. Yep. Yep.
of doing the chores. Did you have time to play anything this weekend though? That's the question.
I dabbled a little bit in some games. I kind of jumped around. Like I didn't know what mood I
Yeah.
was in, so just nothing kind of scratched that itch. But I did go back into the last Uncharted they put out, which was Uncharted Lost Legacy. It's really cool, man. It kind of blew me away again how fucking beautiful that game is, and the fact that they take that formula with the Uncharted's, but they just kind of open world it, where you get to choose in which order you want to tackle the different parts of the world, and which overall culminates to like finishing the story. But you're free to roam. You got this dope ass Jeep, and you're just sliding in mud, and everything is incredibly gorgeous. And I was kind of just blown away by it. I played it 2 years ago now. I think it came out, but I loved it. I'm not all the way through. I finished it the first time. I'm like 3 hours in now, but man, I love it.
Guess I didn't know it was that free roaming.
It is.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I definitely knew about Game Maker's Toolkit talks about there's a neat trick they do where you climb these towers and solve these puzzles. And basically what they do to make it feel, because no matter what you do the order in, it gets harder and harder, and they actually swap around the top of the puzzle, or the puzzle that's at top of the tower, so you always do it in a progressively difficult order.
Whoa.
So be curious to see with their whole kind of wide open thing how they kind of do that in other ways with other stuff, whether it's like adjusting the enemy AI or whatnot.
Right. I imagine, yeah, behind the hood, anytime you try and make something more just open world or kind of free range, it's got to just create a laundry list of other issues with making sure people are doing things in the right order, or just making sure it all unfolds in a way that it doesn't matter how you tackle it. But yeah, I mean, I'm not seeing any of the seams. Like it's running beautifully. The way they integrate, the way you can kind of tackle whatever parts of the world. Man, I love it. And then I'm also just keep getting blown away by the graphics. I mean, I played this also to kind of get used, or I'm in the mode of Last of Us 2 is like a week and a half away, 2 weeks away. And so this is the last game they put out, and I just kind of wanted a taste of like a little bit what to expect with that same engine. And
Yeah.
man, it's already beautiful as it is. And then if you see footage of Last of Us 2, it's kind of mind blowing how they can keep squeezing more energy and more juice out of the PS4. But man, everybody over at Naughty Dog is just top tier, like pros. It's pretty mind blowing.
Yeah. I mean, it sort of just blows my mind that th- they make money off of these games because they put so much effort into them. So much effort. And the other thing is, I don't feel like they have long, necessarily lasting online communities, which kind of keep them alive and keep people buying the game to play it with their friends. I know Last of Us 1, when it started out, it had a pretty decent online community. Apparently, people really like that cool gameplay it had. Um, but this one's not going to have that. So that's going to be
Right.
weird as well. So
Although you're right, and they mentioned they are going to split off the multiplayer. They're going to do it their own thing when they do decide to reveal that for Last of Us 2. And I imagine it's going to be super ambitious. They're going to be separate completely from this title, and they can just do, I mean, maybe even your own, like create some kind of campaign multiplayer. Like I would love an open world or like an always online kind of thing. But yeah, you're right, because they're so successful with games, with their games being mainly single player. And that's kind of a, these are sort of outliers, but Sony kind of specializes in getting these developers that do, that's their whole jam. And so yeah, it's kind of cool to see such a powerful, successful developer just focusing on single player and making enough to pay the bills.
right. And I
And then
guess the
some.
question is for them too is, so it sounds like Uncharted, the story is basically wrapped up. I mean, they kind of wrap it up with every entry, but it seems pretty wrapped up. They've done a fair amount of sequels.
Yeah.
Last of Us 2, they're probably not going to jump right into Last of Us 3. Do they do a new IP at this point?
I hope so, because they're so talented. I want to see them do something different, and I think they're ready for it. With, because they've stuck to these same two properties for 10, 15 years. I mean, with
Oh,
Uncharted longer for sure. So yeah, I think it's time for them to move on to something else, just to see the creative capability that they can pump out. I'm so excited to see what they're, and I'm sure they're already working on something like early development on something else. But yeah, I want them to get really silly with it, because a lot of things they tackle, at least with Last of Us, is so serious. Man, just take
yeah.
everyone to like Disneyland or something, give them a break, because it's so heavy. So I'm hoping the next thing, and that was the balance they had with Uncharted, is they could balance between this pulpy kind of actiony
Yeah.
game movie thing, and then with the seriousness of Last of Us. So I'm hoping the next one is just super silly, just have some fun and give your team a mental break from how
Right.
tough the Last of Us is content wise. But
Well, even Uncharted 3 kind of had that tone, and I don't know if it persisted from there because there were sequels of like, Nathan Drake is basically throwing his life away, right? Like he's going at this with too much reckless abandon, and not even considering the damaging it's caused. So it's got a bit of darkness to it,
that's true.
even with all the comedy with it too, and the fact that he's basically a mass murderer. He's killed tens of thousands of people by now,
Yeah.
with a smile on his face.
Right. Yeah, he doesn't even pop that extra collar. It just says his, his nothing changes on his wardrobe, and he's murdering people. Yeah, they're gonna have to deal with that, and that's what makes me also kind of think they're gonna tackle something that's just a different theme, because a lot of the stuff they were doing is it's actiony, so there is, there's death involved, there's shooting. I imagine they're ready for something different, or Sony says, yeah, that's cool. We want you to keep doing what you are great at and just keep doing this. But I feel like they've earned the right as a studio to kind of work on whatever they want, and knowing that it's going to have that polish and quality of Naughty Dog. Same with the Sony Santa Monica with the God of War. Yeah, they got to keep pumping out God of Wars, but you can trust them now to tackle something else, and it's going to have that same stamp of approval, that same high quality.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hasn't Studio Santa Monica made stuff besides, or
Yeah, I'm
whoever
just thinking
makes
of the
God of War
last
made
one.
other stuff that did suck?
Yeah, sure. I guess recently, because they came out of the gate, but with that reboot of God of War
Yeah.
getting so much critical acclaim, I feel like that kind of brought them back to the top of the ranks, and showed, hey, we're the one of the top dogs here, and maybe they can afford. Maybe the next they have to put another banger out, and then they can afford that control over what they do. But I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going on behind the scenes, but it's very interesting.
They gotta get that fuck you money.
Yeah. Nice, Kevin. Did you play anything over the weekend? Over the week?
I may have played some Teamfight Tactics at some point.
You and your
Maybe
nerd
like I'm
shit,
Friday.
Gavin. Just nerding it up over
My
there.
nerd shit. Well, I think the thing that bugs me about it is I'm not even having fun when I'm playing it. So
Well,
I don't, which is not good.
no, it's not good at all.
But then I finish a round, I want to play another.
Well,
No, I
that's an
did
addiction, sir.
right. I did send you. I discovered there's a game I'm gonna jump into, although I probably should be finishing. Uh, shit, what's that game called? It's by the people. I can look it up
It's
in
not
my
Slay the
library.
Spire or something like that. I know you're into the.
No, so it's by the same people that made Hades
Oh,
and
okay.
um, but I started to start, although I didn't get very far at all. Pyre, um,
Oh, is it
but
Super Giant?
really. Yeah, Super Giant. But before I should be beating Pyre, I should be beating the game they put out before that. Transistor.
Oh,
Um,
yes, I forget about that. That was
yeah,
always
I
top of
mean,
the that year it came out. It was like top of the list for game of the year for sure.
a lot of people liked it, and I liked what little of I played. I think I'd be more down for it when I get into the real nitty gritty customization. It sounds like there's just hundreds of combos and stuff you can do. It's really crazy. Um,
And so
I
you
don't know.
are trying. You're on Pyre. You haven't tried Transistor yet. Is what you're saying?
I played a little bit of Transistor. I need to play more of it. Honestly, I should just go through their entire catalog at this point because I really liked Hades when I was playing it. And I should give that more of a shot because I had fun with what I was just like plateaued. I wasn't getting any better, which was bugging me. Um, but yeah, no, I started that. So I wanted to see that. I love their level of polish that
Right.
they throw in their games, and there's a really cool system in the game where as you play, you level up characters. Um, but when they get super powerful, they leave, which is a good thing in that universe. It's like they get to go back. Uh, it sounds like I don't fully understand, but it sounds like they leave limbo basically, and they get to move
Okay.
on. So that's kind of a cool thing if your person levels up. So, but that means you got to manage your party. So it seems interesting. But
Is that
no, I
as you
didn't
level
really.
them up, they leave? So you kind of have to manage not creating hitting that plateau until you're ready to like let go of them.
Maybe I don't
Okay.
know necessarily. Yeah. So I need to
Gotcha.
get further. But yeah, I hear it's a very cool system. It sort of manages that power curve. Um, and then
Nice.
yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, playing that. Any other weird addictions you've been dealing with or playing on the side?
Well, we'll have to accidentally leave the camera on after this for that.
Yeah. You see your Teletubby collection or something in the corner that you're just brushing their
Uh,
hair or whatever.
it's Beanie Babies.
Yeah.
First of all,
Damn, those never reached their full like potential as far as the everyone was banking on these being your like retirement plan, and they never
yeah.
created reached this point where they're worth anything, right?
Well, the problem was is everyone was banking on that.
Yeah, yeah.
So they were worth nothing, and I'm sure there were a few if you keep them in, like, mint condition. I saw a thing that was talking about, like, stuff that people thought was gonna be worth money, and then it wasn't. Like, a big thing was people thought Pokemon cards, and I was the first person to yard sale my Pokemon cards out of everyone I knew, because I thought these are gonna be worth nothing,
Really?
and I was right about those cards. But the thing that's interesting is they mentioned, like, if you have a sealed pack in perfect condition, preferably, what's that term? Like first generation or first,
Oh yeah, like the first release or whatever. Yeah, I know what you're
yeah,
talking about.
those are worth a bunch. If you have one of the big starter packs, first gen or first run or whatever it is, just gobs of money. But it's got
Mm.
to be in mint condition. They kind of went in the thing. They went over the fact that these people that buy these things, they get the first runs, they get them in mint condition, and then they put them in a safe, and then they just wait. And that's what you have to do: a properly sealed, protected, safe. Never touch them. So your Pokemon cards are worth shit. Mine were worth shit. Like these Beanie Babies are worth shit. You'd have to have them in a thing in a safe. So
And no
people
kid did
don't.
that. They were stuck. There's macaroni stuff. On there. There's Jolly Rancher. Residue. It's like no one ever fucking took care of these, but we didn't see. The future. We were just having fun.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Those holographic ones were dope though. I remember having, or I think either it was it's an implanted memory or it really happened. But I remember being on the playground and a kid had one of the holographic. It's that weird dragon one. It was like the dopest
Charizard?
Charizard, but like the last evolution of it, whatever that name was. But it's like this weird dragon looking. Yeah, it's like the basic model Pokemon from like the original like Yellow or whatever. But it's like that last evolution of it, where it's just like this full blown
Right,
red dragon.
Charizard.
There you go. Okay, I guess I
Yeah.
think of like the first one of them, but whatever. It was holographic. It was
But
dope.
that
But
was yeah, it'd be Charmander, Charmeleon, and then Charizard.
there you
There you
go.
go.
There you gotcha. Yeah, he had it. I don't know whatever happened to it if he was able to ride off into the sunset or what, but it was like the dopest holographic card. I want to say that was one of the most valuable ones at the time with that first run, but I'm not sure.
That's definitely at my school what all the kids wanted. You wanted the holographic Charizard,
Yep.
and you remember, the kid that opened it in a pack and how jealous everyone was. And I think we had a few people. Most people bought their holographic Charizards.
Mm.
Um, but I never had one. I didn't have yeah, I didn't really have a good holographic in most things.
Yeah. Did you were those the original loot boxes Pokemon cards? Because you think you have to buy a shitty pack in hopes that
n-
you get
n-
something cool,
I
and you
mean,
just keep buying them.
Magic cards would have been the original before them, and I'm sure there was something before that. That
Mm.
being said, there's a really cool concept that I like. There's this game called fuck.
What kind of
Hold
games?
on.
I can Google it.
It's gonna take me 2 seconds to Google here. Sealed
Gotcha.
deck card game.
Not Yu-Gi-Oh. There was another one that was like a Pokemon ripoff, right? Was it Digimon or something?
No, this is something different.
Uh,
What are you called?
was it
It's
Pogs or Shoots and Ladders? Were they like a
Keyforge. Jesus Christ.
Keyforge?
There we go. So
Interesting.
there's this game Keyforge, and apparently Epic Card Game does this as well, which I haven't heard anything about it, and that's made by a more famous designer. Well, sort of. But Keyforge takes this interesting technique of so I like deck builders, which work different than a collectible card game, which is like Pokemon and Magic the Gathering and so on and so forth, Yu-Gi-Oh. So deck builders, you sort of build your deck during the game based off a store, and both people can buy from that store. Whereas deck or collectible card games, you build your full deck beforehand, and then go into the game and just deal with whatever bullshit your asshole friend with too much money has in their deck. And there's this game called Keyforge, which has a happy little medium, which is it will randomly every single deck is completely randomly generated, completely unique. There is no two decks alike, and it's sealed, ready to go. You open up that package, you're ready to play a game of Keyforge with your buddy, which is super duper cool. And I think that's a happy little medium. And some decks are going to be better than others. But the people do tournaments where you just open up the deck and that's what you got, and you got to work with your tools. And I think that's a really fun kind of twist on it. And
Hmm.
it seems like a not as expensive way of dealing with it. Because yeah, with Magic the Gathering, you got to keep buying pack after pack, Pokemon pack after pack to get the stuff. Whereas this, just open it up and have fun.
When
You
you're
can
on
blame
your
the deck if you lose.
when you're on your dates, how far into the date do you go before you start to drop this knowledge on your date and tell them the preferred cards that you like, and how well does that work?
Uh, I mean, I've played games on dates before. I've had like two different dates, uh, where like they break out a game and it's just like, hey, let's see if this person can hang. And
Okay.
one I almost dated and one I did date, so it's not a bad strategy. Maybe I should start doing it, like, really.
Yeah, I was talking shit, but maybe you're onto something there.
I think they're onto something, but yeah.
Nice, that's cool. Well, I love hearing about these
Anyway.
card games, man. It really just gets my motor going, Gavin.
Oh, did
I
I
love
tell
it.
you I looked at that one card game that was made by that like um there was that what was it? It was
Not one of the printable ones you were talking about, or that was a different thing.
no, not a printable one. It was by we saw a while ago there was a owner of an esports team who was looking to get into video games. He was going to make a digital deck building game. That was very early, and I finally checked it out, and it actually looked pretty neat.
Oh.
Um, but that description is going to do nothing for no one.
Nope.
So might as
about
well
to,
have not brought it up.
I'm about to check out of this day right now, Gavin.
There you go. But we should probably get to the news.
Yeah, we got some stuff happened. We got some video game news coming up. The big one that I want to start with was PS5. We got some confirmation on a PS5 event. They postponed it last week, and so we have a new date that's very soon. So I'll get into the article here. We got it's from The Verge. Sony's PS5 event rescheduled to June 11th, and it's of Jay Peters. of theverge.com. And just brought my little video here. Sony announced today that its upcoming PlayStation 5 event has been rescheduled to Thursday, June 11th at 4 p.m. The event was originally scheduled for June 4th, but was postponed following the death of George Floyd and protests against racism and police brutality happening around the world. Sony plans to show off PS5 games during the event, and it will run for a bit more than an hour, Sony Interactive CEO Jim Ryan said in a blog post announcing the original event. The presentation, which is pre-taped, will be broadcast at 1080p and 30 frames per second. Sony did that to make it easier to produce while many of the staff are working from home during the COVID-19 pandemic, according to a blog post by Sid Schumann, a senior director for Sony Interactive Content Communications. The games you'll see on Thursday will look even better when you play them on PS5 with the 4K TV, as you'd expect, Schumann writes. Schumann also recommended wearing headphones during the event because there's some cool audio work in the show, and it might be harder to appreciate if it's pumped through your phone or laptop speakers. That sounds like a reference to the 3D audio capabilities already announced for the PS5. So yeah, Gavin, we got some confirmation. We got a date. We're going to see PS5. It's going to be an hour long. What do you kind of expect them? Do you think they go, hard in the paint, showing off the console, showing off gameplay? Is this more of a response to like how Xbox handled their first reveal of some of the next gen stuff?
Yeah, I think you have to go hard in the paint. That's their that's the game. But that being said, we keep saying these people got to go hard in the paint, and
Right.
they go soft in the pudding. Like it just doesn't.
Yep. That's a medical term there, yes.
Yeah, it keeps not happening. And I guess, and I think people have to be really understanding, and it does suck that this is going to be 1080p 30 frames per second, because that's not necessarily what we want. But yeah, it's so hard to edit that footage at home. These people are on their laptop, like
Sure.
these towers that they're using to edit this footage. These are some work fucking horses. These are some powerful rigs, so it does suck that they don't have access to that. But yeah, we just gotta hope. An hour is a long time. Uh,
Yeah, and so
it,
is there filler, or are they just coming out with announcement after announcement, or relying on gameplay and teasers? Even those trailers, if it's a trailer for a game like a concept, those aren't very long. So I imagine we're seeing some possible, 5-minute gameplay chunks to help like bridge that gap. Are they going to have like the cardboard cutouts they did last time? Was it, I want to say Mark Cerny, when they did their GDC thing they put online? It was a very weird, bland stream that they put up, but it was really to talk about like the architecture behind the PS5. It was being
right.
hyped up as this next gen event, but it was super boring because it's very technical. So I wonder how they handle how the visuals look. Like, how does this thing look? There isn't an E3 now, so do they try and create that kind of presence of these huge screens, or is it more just like announcement after announcement, kind of like the Nintendo Directs, where it's just the footage itself, maybe somebody
Yeah.
narrating, but that's it.
I mean, I don't think they'd copy too much from that speech, since they kind of already did it. And that was supposed to be a GDC talk, so that
Yeah,
was
exactly.
yeah. I mean, people got hyped up for the wrong thing.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I think we'll have some talking heads, and I think that's acceptable. Something pretty comparable to a Nintendo Direct, kind of going into features of these games, talking about that. I think as much as we are going to see gameplay, I think the talking heads is we're going to get a lot of people talking about the benefits of the PS5, really talking about the new things they can do. It is going to be about the games, but I definitely think that it's going to be more about the PS5. I think we're going to see tech demos, whether we like it or not. They are quite cool,
it's
but
fair.
they're not vindicative or indicative or whatever that indicative is
Vin Diesel, if
of
yeah.
the final product. But
Do you
yeah,
think we see
so
the box?
we keep saying we have to, but we don't got to do shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, if they're launching this year, which they said they are, right?
yeah, yeah.
I'd hope that we're finally going to see the box.
You'd imagine. I
Uh,
guess they have the whole summer to keep advertising, but it's got to be soon because we don't know what the fuck this thing looks like. But maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know.
and that's the thing too. It kind of doesn't matter. Like, do I want the Xbox? Like, would I care if the Xbox Series X looked like the current Xbox or its current thingy? I don't
Right.
care. Do you care?
No, I mean, I like the whole like tower looking design. But maybe that's the only interesting thing, that they kind of changed the model with how it visually looks now with their next console. But yeah, I mean, as long as it's not, they can't do anything so extreme that's going to turn off people. If you look at the last PlayStations, it's all been the same kind of design. Unless this completely throws that out and just really goes in a different direction, I feel like we're in line for the same kind of box shaped thing that has next gen stuff in it, and I'm on board. I don't really know what else we need to get from it.
Yeah. It would have been interesting if theirs looked like they were working on theirs in secret, and it turns out like Microsoft came out with theirs and Sony's looked exactly like that. Like,
Oh
oh
shit.
shit. Don't show it yet.
Yeah. Put a fucking bird on it or something, make it look a little bit different, or a hat. Yeah.
Paint a penis on it. People will be distracted.
Right. Just keep moving it around so they can't quite get a picture of it. Nice going. Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, this is close as a Thursday, so we're close to next gen. At least Sony's part of it, so we're gonna see some info, whatever they
When
decide to
was
spend an hour on.
right? When was it originally supposed to be?
It was last Wednesday, last Tuesday, something like that. I want to say Wednesday, possibly Thursday. They might have just moved it a week from that last week time.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll see. It's all pre-recorded apparently, so maybe that's the better way to keep stuff from leaking too, if it's just in a video. But although it's easier to upload a video that has all this stuff, so I wonder if that helps them avoid spoilers or leaked information by having a canned video that they then upload.
I mean, the fact that everything doesn't get leaked is astounding.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what you do to battle leaks anymore. But I'm glad that so far this hasn't been leaked. I hope we get something big, man. What are we hoping for? I don't even know. That's the thing. A lot of the big studios that I want to announce stuff are working on stuff for the end of this gen. So I'm really excited for that stuff. Maybe we'll get to see a little bit of Cyberpunk. The problem is that's not really going to be next gen Cyberpunk, so it's not a great
Right.
time to be showing it off. Yeah.
Yep, there are a
Anyway,
few things that haven't been shown off yet. Some of the speculation with Sony and Activision's relationship with like handling Call of Duty announcements, that maybe that's when they show off their supposed 2020 Call of Duty. Maybe they show it off there. It could also be maybe we see, what was that Elden Ring game that was supposed to be with Guillermo del Toro, I want to say, and there was another like well-known Japanese dev. They're doing some kind of like Demon Souls, Dark Souls kind of game. I don't know if we'll see that there, or what the relationship was with Sony. But
yeah, I think it was from software with Del Toro.
gotcha.
So yeah, that'll be interesting.
Maybe
It's
something like
definitely gonna
that.
have monsters. It's gonna have 3,000% monsters in that game.
That's his jam. And maybe robots. Who knows? They might get super weird with it.
There you go. Oh my god, I had a coworker watch uh Pacific Rim for the first time, and I was so nervous because it's like, what'd you think? Better have fucking loved it.
Right.
She did,
When they
but
decide. Nice.
I was nervous. Yeah, but I mean, you got to come into that movie for what it is. It's a big dumb summer blockbuster, and
Yeah.
it's one of the best. But she says she fell asleep during one and just saw two, and that's not the order you should really be experiencing these movies.
No, two is cool, but only because the first one is so awesome, and then so you kind of like wanted to fall back to that original one. But it's fine. Anytime that you have these robots and monsters fighting, that's always dope. But there's something about
Right.
the second one that wasn't quite as unique or interesting as that first one. But I still dug both of them. And John Boyega, I want to say his name is. He was dope in it, in that second one. And yeah, anytime you get, I'm on board for 10 more of these. Just keep making these robots fight monsters, and I'm down.
You gotta bring in something like, now that you got aliens from below, now you gotta have aliens from above. I mean that's part of what made that, when we watched that Godzilla movie, that's what kind of part of what made it interesting. You had him coming in from all angles,
Right.
um, and sort of dealing with that whole thing, and that was a fucking blast.
Yeah, I love that. They're supposed to be working on Godzilla versus King Kong, and they're supposed to merge those properties together. But I don't know what the deal is with that movie where it's slated. I want to say they had a lot of it done before the whole COVID stuff, so I'm not sure when we'll see a trailer. But that was what they're all getting ready towards, and merging those two worlds together was them fighting each other. So we'll see. That's why they made King Kong so fucking huge in that last one too, so he's somewhat comparable and not just an ant, on Godzilla's foot or whatever.
Right. Although I still think he's like Godzilla's way bigger, so I don't know
Yeah,
how this is.
Yeah, it's gonna be that same UFC fight we watch where he just ducks and does that Superman punch, and then it's over.
I feel like it's almost more comparable to was what's your hero Superman versus what's his name, Asanya?
Oh,
Um,
Israel Sanya, yeah.
yeah, because it's this giant
That's true.
human
That's true.
versus Asanya,
Yep.
but something like that.
Nice, Gavin. Well, we'll see how that goes. We're very close, a week away, or 3 days, however time works away from this PS5 event. So we'll see. We're close. We
It's
do. This is
exciting.
a interesting next one here. I want to get your take on this. I think I included the video in the little article here too. But it's Sega announces a palm-sized Game Gear micro console, which is very dope, very Japanese. But we'll get your take on this, Gavin. So the original article is from IGN. Sega announces a palm-sized Game Gear micro console. Jordan Alleman has the article here. A set of palm-sized Game Gear micro consoles have been revealed as part of Sega's 60th anniversary celebrations. The Game Gear Micro is currently only available to pre-order in Japan and will launch on October 6th. At time of writing, there have been no news of a Western release for this device. So this fun-sized device will offer a headphone jack, charge via USB, and use 2 AAA batteries for power. Sega is currently offering a promotion where if you buy all 4 variants of the Game Gear Micro, you'll receive a special big window accessory that magnifies the screen while you play. The console will retail in Japan for 4,980 yen, which roughly equates to $50 US. So there's 4 different models. They're all different colors too, and they come with different games. So one of them, the black model, comes with Sonic the Hedgehog, Puyo Puyo 2, Outrun, Royal Stone. The blue one comes with Sonic and Tails. So they're kind of spreading all the Game Gear, the 10 Game Gear games that were cool along all these different releases. The yellow one has Shining Force 1 and 2, Nazo Puyo. The red one has, Columns, GG Shinobi, Megami Tensei Gaiden. Yeah, what do you think about this? Do you think you're going to buy this day one when you can? It's a tiny little Game Gear.
New. But hear me out.
Yeah.
So back when I was trying to learn how to speed run Super Mario Brothers, I'd found a limited edition Game Boy Micro. I probably still have it. There it is. So I purchased this son of a gun.
Oh, nice. There was a US version of that too, right? I remember that seeing those.
There may have been, yeah. But yeah, so this is small, but this is bigger than the Game Boy Micro.
Oh, okay.
And while this feels at first like it fits pretty well into your hand, it's still like just keeping your hands like this wears on your whole hand after a
I'm sure.
while, and it's not super comfortable. The tiny screen is a problem. So that's an issue. And this Game Gear Micro is smaller.
Yeah,
So
it looks
you've
smaller.
taken what's already a rough design and made it smaller. Like I it's kind of shitty, but it feels like there's a reason why the screen enlarger is only with the extra spendy edition or whatever.
Right.
And then as people online kind of pointed out, like these games are so small, so astronomically small. So when they spread it out over 4 different units, it's kind of just like a cheap cash grab. You could fit on a like little micro SD, you could fit so many games for super
Yeah.
cheap. So spreading it out over that's kind of crap. And it's going to be uncomfortable. So, and it's
It
going to
seems
kill
like
your
it.
eyes. So there's too many issues. Maybe if it were slightly bigger, if it was as big as that. But it's neat that it's almost the size of like a keychain.
Yeah, it's
It's pretty
nifty,
cool.
but you're right. If you're gonna be expecting the best way to play the Game Gear, if anyone's really hungry for the best way to play those Game Gear games, it's kind of not the best way to do it. But it's just like a neat thing, but maybe charge a little bit less because it's $50 per each one of those. So, but yeah, it's very strange to see that they kind of quietly announced that this is something only in Japan right now. But I'm assuming this is coming to the States for sure.
Right, right. Well, I mean, I think it's going to depend on how it does in Japan. So
That's
it's,
true. I find interesting.
but
So the original Game Gear it was like 6 double A batteries. So with the current technology in 2020, we got it down to 2 AA batteries. Like, can we not get anything more efficient or better than that? Like, Jesus, it's better than the 20 batteries, whatever it took, but still, come on.
Charges via USB and uses two AAA batteries.
I have mine here still too.
There you go.
Yeah, so it had 3 on each side.
But those were AA's. These are AAA's, the smaller ones.
Oh, they are? Okay. Yeah, no, actually, this is AA. So it was 6 fucking AA batteries. Jesus. For this honking monstrosity.
We're lucky they weren't D's.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. It's just a backpack you put on and you plug it in like a Ghostbuster, but yeah.
Instead of... Still had the coolest boot up noise ever. Whenever you hear the Sega,
yeah.
so fucking cool.
You feel it right in the heart. It's just it takes you back for sure.
You can still like hear the reverberations, like shaking the speakers for everything they're worth.
Yeah, so it was kind of a nifty toy thing, but a little strange to bring this thing back to life the way they're doing it with this Game Boy Micro. But yeah, I guess now's the time
Game
to
Gear Micro.
Yeah, You're right. Game Gear Micro. Sound like my mom or something. I'm gonna buy you the Game Boy Micro. No, Mom, it's a Game Gear Micro. Get it right. And I throw
that being said, the one thing I really liked about this when I was riding the train is the fact that like having buttons is so good. Like, and that's why like playing on a 3DS or whatever, it's so much better than playing on a phone. I really missed that tactile sensation. It's kind of too bad that like PlayStation phone thing didn't take off better when it had the whole
it was like a PSP phone. Was it the Xperia or something like that?
That sounds right to me. I bet you're right. I think that's right.
It was something like that, but I do remember that.
Yeah, if that kicked off and people are using like the 3DS style like nub pads, you could have like awesome, like you could be Fortnite twice as hard. It still blows my mind that people can play Fortnite on their phones. That game's got 1 million buttons. I can barely handle it on my desktop.
Right.
But I mean, you got these kids who can build up muscle memory in half a second. Fortnite's their second language.
Yeah, they're failing in class, but they got an A in Fortnite for sure.
Hey, you got to be cranking them 90s.
That's true, as the kids say. Alrighty, Gavin. Well, we got some Destiny 2 news. They had their first live event over the weekend, so we got to get some takes on that. There's some kind of more negative views on how it went down. I have no skin in the game, so we'll see how it goes. But this Destiny 2's first Fortnite-style live event was slow and underwhelming, but it's a solid start. So this is from Polygon. Nick Stat has the details here. Destiny 2's first ever Fortnite-style event wrapped on Saturday, June 6th, and it was unfortunately not quite what some players were expecting. Instead of something monumental and game-changing for a key part of the game world, it was more of a slow burn, alternative to a standard video game cutscene. And instead of delivering a strong narrative payoff on a season's worth of otherwise dull and repetitive activity, the almighty event ended without any meaningful change in direction or surprising new development. For the first 3 months, developer Bungie had been building up a clash between the Destiny world's artificial intelligence supercomputer Rasputin and a large planet-destroying ship called the Almighty. All of this past season's activities had revolved around communicating with the AI character, a largely mysterious fixture in Destiny lore before this season. Some players expected the Almighty to actually crash to the game's tower social hub. Others expected a cutscene or perhaps some form of a real-time space battle that would destroy or in some substantial way change the tower. What we actually got was a severely understated form of the latter, in which the image of the Almighty changed in excruciatingly slow fashion with new animations and eventually a brief scene of its destruction and crash landing, yet the whole execution felt a bit slapdash and underwhelming. The event's culmination, which lasted under 10 minutes, required 90 minutes of build-up and resulted in just an emblem and not much more. It illustrates the mismatched expectations Bungie may have inadvertently cultivated. Did you watch any of this over the weekend or any reactions? I haven't plugged into Destiny 2 in years, but I know they've been providing the content. They're building towards something, but it wasn't on that Fortnite level for sure. It seems like it really just didn't go over well with the community.
And that sucks so bad because these live events, people love them in Fortnite. But yeah, that if done well, that could be so much more impactful for a live service game. So that's, I mean, apparently it was to my understanding, if you can kind of count this, and you kind of can, when World of Warcraft did Cataclysm, and it sounds like parts of the world got destroyed and different parts, sort of like how it works in Fortnite, but on a grander scale because it's a way bigger world. Although the cutscene was different. It wasn't you watching the cutscene happen in the world like you are with Fortnite. This was just like literally a cutscene.
Oh,
Um, but yeah, so for a live service game that people are spending hours and hours and hours, it I could see why people were so excited about that, especially when it looked like it was leading up to that. So I imagine so many people are just so disappointed, and that really sucks. That could have been amazing, especially when they say playable. It doesn't sound like it was really playable.
yeah. I mean, I guess playable in the sense that you're in the lobby, that main game hub lobby, and you're experiencing this thing happening. So everyone's together seeing this stuff. But yeah, you're right. You're not actually out in on a mission or what have you. It's just happening in the hub world, and you just get to watch it. So it's almost like a cutscene just unfolding around you, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're right. We've seen Fortnite just, fucking nail it every time. So much so it's news when they unplug the game itself. Like they are making these huge strides. You think, Bungie over there would have seen some of that and say, hey, we need to kind of be on that level. And this is something still, it's cool. Like it's a huge event to see. If you watch the footage, you're seeing this whole skyline light up, this ship crashing. It's a cool idea, but just when you compare it to what Fortnite's doing, it's a little bit kind of the excitement goes away just because you see what Fortnite's done and it's amazing. If this was in a world without Fortnite and they were just doing something like this, it'd be pretty nuts. But because we are in this world, you got to top them. Otherwise, no one really. They're just always going to compare you to it.
Right. And that's sort of a thing with it too, is like um these things are so I'm sure even the Destiny one was super expensive to produce, even though they didn't really change up the world afterwards. And then the Fortnite ones are just astronomically expensive. Like don't even want to
I'm
think
sure.
about it.
Well, they got that
So
money,
that's
so I'm hoping they spend it on that.
they got that money and they're just giving it out to everyone trying to get this thing going. Man, although you brought up the thing about turning off the game, man, I still cannot believe that worked. Like I
Yeah.
think we ran through the scenario of some guy said, "We shut it off.
He's all coked up in the corner, and he's like, you know what? Unplug it.
Unplug it. People will go nuts." Jared, just so you know, if this doesn't work, it's your ass. All
Right.
right. Let's go.
Yeah, he completely gambled and it worked, or whoever the team was. But yeah, and if you watch some of the gameplay they did, that event they did with Travis Scott, where it's just they haven't done anything like that before, where they just completely changed the visuals, and it's this really cool, interactive experience and this trippy concert. It's like that was something
Right.
I've never seen before. So I mean, you see what they're doing. They're really taking chances and throwing it out there. Even the biggest chance by unplugging the fucking game itself. So maybe it takes that level of risk to get that reward that Fortnite's getting.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
Fortnite.
yeah, they're on top. They're on top of the world.
They've
So
already
Gav,
came back into this conversation twice so far. We'll see. I'm gonna make it a third for sure here.
oh, I'm playing it right now on the side, so I'm playing on my computer right next to me. But Gavin, let's talk about our next article here. This is Dying Light 2. We kind of talked in the bit or past for a bit on the supposed like rockiness with the development. They actually got an interview. The Escapist magazine got an interview with somebody from the dev team and a social media manager or PR manager, where they kind of went into depth on where they are development wise and kind of put people at ease a little bit. But here is the article here. So it's from the Escapist. This is Mark Delaney. Dying Light 2 is in the last stretch. Techland refutes reports of studio troubles. So we got earlier this month, Polish games outlet polskigamedev.pl ran a story claiming that the 200-person team at Techland responsible for Dying Light 2 was stuck in a rut. Reports of infighting, mismanagement, and a lack of vision for the long in development project seemed to signal the ambitious zombie RPG was in danger. We reached out to Techland to get their side of the story. Senior PR manager Ola Sondej and lead game designer Timon Smektala shared their perspective in a wide-ranging interview that also touched upon rumors of a Microsoft buyout, game development during a pandemic, and more. So I don't have all the excerpts from this article. It's a super long one, but it's really interesting. So some of the key points here, commenting on the development status of Dying Light 2, senior PR manager Ola Sondej, development of Dying Light 2 is moving forward according to our internal schedule we revised at the beginning of the year. We've had a Dying Light 2 vertical slice for over 4 years. The foundations remain the same since we have started work on the production. However, the natural process for any creative work on the game is the evolution of individual components. This is dictated by factors such as optimization, improvement, or extension of some extremely promised elements. Timon Smektala writes, game making is generally a far more difficult job than many people think. Until your game reaches a wide group of players and gets received well, everything is complex, to be honest. For me, the most challenging part was understanding that we still need some extra time to fully deliver on our ambitious vision. That we have built a very complex game that requires a lot of work in terms of polish, balancing, etc. This is a non-linear game where your decisions impact not only the story itself, but also the state of the world, and the sandbox around you has numerous variants, and you need to test and find quality in all of them. Now, the Escapist here asks them, do you still plan on launching Dying Light 2 in 2020? And will it utilize Xbox Smart Delivery? Smiktala, there's a whole team at techland that works on the announcement of the release date for the game and every piece of info that accompanies it. And I know they want to surprise players, so I don't want to spoil it for them or the community. The only thing I can say is please trust us. It's the last stretch for this project, and we need your support. So yeah, some details there, kind of a long one, but they're saying that it's still on track. And of course, I guess they're going to keep saying that until they finally admit it. But I don't know. How do you feel? Do you feel like we're still, on track to see this at some point soon, or is this going to be delayed further?
I think, and here's my sort of opinion on the whole, like, is there infighting and all this stuff they say is going on, or is it just fine? I don't think I think we'll only know about that stuff, like truly know, if the game turns out bad.
Sure.
Like if it's bad, then we're gonna hear all the stories like we did with whatever the fuck it was.
Or say
Anthem.
Anthem. Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Yeah.
That's when they
But
decided to, talk about here's what was going on because you're right, because it was not received very well.
yeah, but if this turns out well, it's gonna be like that other game from BioWare where it turned out fine, but the story of how it got there was absolute trash fire. So yeah, I think we're only gonna find out the real story if this turns out bad. And I really hope it doesn't. To my understanding,
Yeah.
because I've never finished it, Dying Light 1 was super duper good. The graphics still blow my mind because those are old graphics now and they still hold up
Yeah.
to everything nowadays, and in first person, which makes it that much harder. Um, so yeah, I really hope it's good. They have a crazy ambitious dream for this game, and if it um, can capitalize that and really show, because that's a big thing. They have the writer from New Vegas too. They have this legendary writer with this really cool tech, and if you can capitalize on that, um, that'll be amazing. And it'll kind of make us feel bad about. I know that was a thing, is people were like, "Oh, the outer worlds doesn't have that writer." They kind of drove him out of the team, and people thought they were going to be screwed. So this is sort of his moment to like really say, "Hey, yeah, you should this is how you miss me now."
Right.
I guess to coin a dumb phrase.
Yeah, no, I mean, I share the same hopes that they're able to swing this, they're able to, really deliver what they're promising, especially because they're promising something that's pretty nuts. The fact that it already has the framework of Dying Light, but then they're hoping to get this ability where the factions you align with changes the way the world looks and kind of opens up different storylines that you wouldn't be able to do unless if you go this route, which is very much like a
Yeah.
Fallout style, Fallout New Vegas style, but it's also physically changing the environment. And then you have all the parkour, you have it in first person, it has to run buttery smooth. So it's a lot on their table. So maybe give them just more time to work on it. But they also pumped a lot of content into the first Dying Light. So I'm not sure when they were able to go full force into this one because they kept supporting Dying Light for so long.
And
It's
and there's
interesting.
still a new update coming out for Dying Light 1.
Interesting.
They're not what what is this, Grand Theft Auto?
Right.
Um, it's nuts.
That means that the
Man,
first Dying Light sold pretty well then. If they kept supporting it with content, it was selling really well.
yeah, and I think the other important thing to me too is it sounds like, yeah, doing certain things opens up, certain plot lines, but they really pointed out that it closes off other plot lines. So
Right.
really, if this game is great, and it could be great, you're gonna be I'm gonna be I don't normally replay games, especially right away. So if I can replay it and go crazy bonkers in a different direction, but I think that's gonna be the thing where gonna have to look at reviews, which is gonna make it harder to review. It's gonna be
That's
your
true.
personal story. And if they can really make it just shades of gray rather than black and white, like they say, um, man, it's going to be so hard to top that if
Yeah.
they succeed. And we pray they do.
Right.
That's
I'm hopeful. I mean, I guess they wouldn't take this interview if they didn't feel, maybe they just feel we need to squash some of the stuff that's floating around, or we actually disagree with the narrative that's going around, and it's actually we're doing okay, we're on track. So I'm not sure which one of those. We'll find out, years later when this thing finally comes out. But I'm hopeful, and this is a game that it's still locked in this gen, but they could maybe push it to next gen. I don't know if that's insane to do, because maybe that gives them more horsepower. They can unlock abilities to process stuff at maybe the higher demands they need. I'm not sure, but there's also the money to be made is in current gen, so you want to try and nail this window while it's still around.
yeah.
It's tough. I don't have the answers for them, but yeah, I'm hopeful because I love the first Dying Light. It was really dope. I'm really hopeful that they hopefully didn't bite off more than they can chew with this next one.
Yeah, absolutely. Be Oh, fingers are crossed.
Yes. Now, Gavin, the next one is a bit weird. This is I don't know if you heard some of this stuff happening, but it's a Sims 4. There was an update and where Sims are peeing fire, so they're literally pissing fire because of this update. So, and I couldn't find footage of it. Ironically, I don't know if I need to boot up Sims myself and start pissing and see what happens. But this
I
is
didn't know Sims 4 was still being updated. That's
oh yeah.
incredible.
I think they work on the game very lightly, and then they just focus on all the content and expansions, and that's their moneymaker. But so the actual article here is from IGN. This is Sims are peeing fire following the latest update to The Sims 4. Jordan Alleman on IGN.com has the details. A recent update to Sims 4 has seemingly introduced a bug to the game that is causing some Sims to pee fire. Why is my Sims pee literally in flames? Is it because he's tense? Writes user Joe Wig Snatch on the Sims 4 subreddit. And they're not the only one. The place is flooded with reports of flammable urine, as noticed by Rock Paper Shotgun. Sims quality designer Sim Guru Nick noted on Twitter that the team is looking into these issues. Appropriately, this update also added firefighters to the game, although luckily the burning whiz won't set your house afire or ablaze. As players are reporting that it goes away once your Sim is finished with their number one. Quote, I saw with my Sim too, but once she was done, it just went away. Like what? So that writes user Beating Beauty 97. This unfortunate update has arrived in advance of the Eco Lifestyle Pack, which launched on June 5th. And I sent you a photo of just a pixelated Sim pissing some fire away. But yeah, it's I don't know if it's on purpose or what the deal is, but it's just like a cool, quirky bug that doesn't hurt anybody. Especially if you can't burn your house, your Sim's house down. It's fine. Hopefully they keep it in there.
Well, it's one of the ones I feel really bad for the programmer that's gonna have to fix that bug because I'm sure the hold on, let me close my door one second.
Yep. Kevin's gonna go pee some fire or pee on some fire.
I'm sure that the piece of code that caused that bug is like someone way far away that's gonna be super hard to track down. This bug could have been in the game for a while and nobody noticed. So now like it's, something moving a piece of memory somewhere that's just it's going to be so hard to track down.
I'm sure.
So I feel bad for all the people having to search for that one. But that's funny. That's just funny. It didn't hurt anyone.
No.
It's not stopping your game. It's not glitching out your graphics. That's funny. I bet I wonder if they'll do like their Civilization games. There was a bug where like Gandhi, like his peace level or whatever could go below 0, which would actually take him to full aggression. So Gandhi would be like nuking people. So and so the first time that was in a Civilization game, it was an accident. And now it's intentionally programmed into the Civilization games since then.
Oh man, that's awesome.
So I would love for if Sims 5 ever comes out, which I bet it won't, they're going to be
Really?
Sims 4 forever at this point.
That's true.
I'm willing to bet they bring back this Easter egg because that's just good. That's good, clean fun.
Yeah. Now with that Gandhi one, is it something like you have to do to obtain it, or it's like locked in from the get-go, or you have to like do these special things to unlock that ability once they like patched it in or made it part of the game, that reaching the aggression levels with Gandhi, that part?
I don't know.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean originally it was like you got him so peaceful he became super aggressive.
Right.
I don't know how it works now.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Now, Gavin, you added this thing here. So speaking of
I
Sims,
Yeah, speaking of The Sims, new city builder Town Scraper
Town
is
Scraper. Okay.
bursting on the Steam. Yeah, we've got this link here for Steam. You're gonna load up. You're gonna watch this adorable trailer. Have you now just looking at this? Have you seen? Let me know when you're gonna hit play.
Oh, I have seen this. It looks fucking awesome. I don't know what the progress is. I think I follow the dev on Twitter as well. Sometimes I'll see
Yeah,
him just
I do
like
too.
drawing the different designs and like the buildings and stuff. And man, it's cute as hell.
Right, and this is
So I'm playing the
my
video
first
now here.
time. Yeah, my first time seeing it. He's added this little jiggle effect now when you add or subtract a bit, and that's so fucking cute. Um, but yeah, his tech on this has been wild, and it's been wild for a while, and it sounds like he's making this something very chill. I thought I had while we were talking earlier is, you know, could you like apply this a tech that just makes stuff look amazing dynamically as you're just drawing around? Could you combine that with Fortnite? So they're just
Whoa.
do all these levels because it's sort of like with the jiggle physics. I imagine that sort of shader he's using is somewhat comparable to like the shader they use in Fortnite to make the walls wiggle when you hit them, which I still think is
Sure.
a great effect because it wiggles walls around that wall, which really sells the effect. But
This is awesome.
you as a town building sim guy, now this one isn't
Yep.
as really a sim; it's more just a toy. But are you going to be playing around with this at all?
Oh yeah, like this is you mentioned that I'm not always seeking like the super in-depth sims that are really, technical and detailed. I love just cute shit on top of that. So if you combine sims with cute shit and cities, that's I'm changing my name to that. That's awesome. Like this is so cute, and how you can easily manipulate the world and seemingly easy. I imagine there's a game mechanic too where you can't just willy-nilly add stuff. But I love how
I
easy
think
it
you
is.
can. That's kind of what it
Okay.
looks like. This is just like you building a town at your leisure.
Gotcha.
Whatever you want, it can handle. Whew,
That's so dope. Yeah, and the way it
yeah,
reacts to it, I imagine, is not easy on his end to have it just, be able to react and kind of make sense of what you're building. But no, yeah, super cute. I love the art style too. Very colorful. Very. It's almost like Studio Ghibli a little bit to it.
yeah.
But yeah,
I think that's the thing I kind of appreciate. I mean, there's so much to appreciate about it, but um, so this was. I'm guessing like initially when he started making this tool, I'm guessing it was um just to see if he could do it as an experiment, and then people on Twitter liked it. This is my sort of assumption of how this all went about. And I wonder if he tried to come up with a game idea for it and couldn't, and just said, "Well, I like playing with it so much. It's just a toy. Let's give it out as a toy."
yep,
And great. I'd be really curious to see. Uh, if kids really dig into this. It's too bad that Microsoft HoloLens didn't take off because this would be amazing with that. Can we combine this with a PlayStation VR so we're dual wielding,
yep,
building these buildings? But yeah, I definitely see why. I don't know how I design a game around this and still give you that feeling of just making madness from nothing in a couple of seconds.
right. It can be very therapeutic and just kind of let you, yeah, just build this town. And I wonder now with every game, I always say this, but this could be dope on Switch too. I don't know how technical demanding this
I
is,
don't
technically
know.
demanding. Maybe it
Yeah.
is because it seems like there's a lot of stuff under the hood. I don't know if the Switch can handle it, but it would be perfect there because it's just kind of not time waster, but like I think you can just kind of unplug, play this. I'm sure it's super deep too. Like we're just seeing the trailer and stuff, but this would be perfect on Switch.
Yeah. Can you imagine kind of combining this concept with an Animal Crossing?
Right. That's the
Um,
thing. Yep.
but I still think the thing with this is the power of it is like with that you'd have to have very slow progression. That's the problem with this tool. The coolness is from how fast it is.
Gotcha.
And it'd be neat if you could do like dynamic multiplayer levels with it or something, but I'm sure they wouldn't be very fun.
Well, with like a
Uh,
tower building thing and in real time, and you're quickly, creating these defenses, that could be really dope. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I do
maybe-
remember seeing footage of this, but I just wasn't
yeah.
sure where this, how close this was to coming out. So this has a release date. Is that what I'm looking at? June 2020. At least that's what it says
Yeah.
on Steam.
So yeah, this month.
Oh,
That's
that's
the other
dope.
thing. I wish it like it looks like there's birds and it looks like you can do like clotheslines and stuff. It'd be neat if you put in a lot of like systemic elements where stuff will sort of interact and have surprising reactions. But it'd be cool to
Oh, sure.
have like little crowds for each little house and then just let you walk among them. Like just enjoy your
Yep.
little
You
town
know
you
what?
built.
That's what I always wanted with City Skylines. I'm in love with that game, and as I build my town that I'm also in love with, like I want to walk around with my little sim guys and just kind of see what they're doing day to day. Like that'd be so cool to just live in the town, walk around the town that you're physically building. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think one of the sim cities had a very like rudimentary version of that where you could walk around, but it was very basic and all the like textures and stuff were basically removed so you could walk around in first person, but I think they had something like that back in the day.
Mm,
Yeah.
interesting.
This is
Hmm.
definitely on my radar. I'm gonna wish list this right now. So it's Town Scraper, and then
I should probably wish list that as
right,
well.
yep, give him some love. So it's
I
Oscar
think
Stahlberg. Is that where do you think that
yep,
name is from? Is that Norwegian? Is that
sounds
uh,
Norwegian to me.
yeah?
Some Finnish guy sitting over there like, "No, you idiot! It's clearly Finnish."
Our one Finnish viewers, you know, and he's unsubscribing right now. We
Hey,
lost him.
too Finnish, all right. Was it Town Scraper?
Town Scraper, yep. Yeah, that's really cool, super unique, and you're right. Like, not everything has to have a full fledged game mechanic, and this might. It might be more deep than that, but I think
Yeah,
lean into the fact that it's fun to just build, and there you go. That's all you need to work on.
yeah, and it's neat too with like you see the shape of the tiles in the water. They're not super normal uh they're not squares. They're kind of all over the place. So yeah, there's a lot of like it's weird having a tool where you can build non-square concepts and really free form with this. I'd be curious to see if other game devs are able to do something with this tech.
Yeah,
um make open worlds that are 10 times bigger. I don't
right. Yeah, we need them to get bigger for some reason. Yeah,
know. Right.
already too big. All right, get more
Added to
next.
wish list.
There you go. Nice. I'm gonna do that too. Give him some love for sure. Our next article here is Cyberpunk 2077. So this one is, yeah, I don't know. It's just not really good for Stadia right now with this stuff going on. So we got Cyberpunk 2077 will not arrive on Google Stadia on launch day for some reason. This is a Forbes.com. Paul Tassi writes, despite Cyberpunk's 2077's massive delay from spring to fall, April 16th to September 17th, the pushback has not ensured a simultaneous launch on all platforms. While PC, Xbox, and PS4 will all see the game release on September 17th, a recent press release about Cyberpunk, first spotted by Stadia's source, says in the fine print that the game will not be out on Stadia by the end of the year. Or sorry, will be out on Stadia by the end of the year. It is, of course, not a good look for Stadia, which wants to be viewed as an equivalent to other platforms, yet it can't manage to land one of the biggest games of the year, which it has been promoting as part of the AAA Stadia lineup for ages. On its launch day, then what are they even doing? We have seen delays similar to this on Stadia before, like how Borderlands 3 was not updated with current patches and DLC until a while after it launched on Stadia, but this is a more prominent example. What's the deal here? The more pessimistic view is that it takes work to port games to Stadia and make sure they're running well there. Work that requires extra effort from CDPR in this case, and yet they have deemed it a secondary priority to getting Cyberpunk out on the platforms that will make up 98% of the market. In short, CDPR just can't prioritize Stadia's version right now, so they'll get to it when they can, hence the delay. Yeah, again, what do you think? Is this really just not a whole lot to worry about, or kind of another blow to Stadia? Because this is something they have been promoting that they were going to have day one, and there's maybe more technical issues behind the scenes getting this version ready to go day one.
Right. It yeah, it does seem like a blow. It really makes me wonder if it purely comes down to testing and finding these bugs that aren't on other platforms. Because when we talked to the fellows that were working on the boat game, um
Yes, I'm gonna Google that because I'm blanking on the name. But yeah, keep going.
Wave something. Anyway,
Wave Break. Wave
when
Break is the name of the game.
Wave
Yeah.
Break, yeah. When they talked about developing on Stadia, they honestly felt like it was very easy to develop for. They said it was basically like making it for anything else. But I mean, it's launching on that first, so maybe that colors it a little bit. But I don't know. I'd imagine that Stadia designed it to pretty well work like anything else. So I am honestly surprised.
Mm,
And that does that. I mean, it's also weird. I didn't hear about the Borderlands thing with the patches. Um, so that's weird as well. But yeah, it just sort of makes me think: is it coming down to really just testing it and making sure there aren't these bugs? Um, I really haven't heard much from anyone about how buggy Stadia is to work so far. You haven't heard a lot of complaints. The only complaint is there's no games on it.
right.
So
Yeah, I also
I hope
wonder.
we finally get some stories out of this.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I wonder if because you mentioned that dev, so it's Funktronic Labs was a dev. I wonder
Yeah.
if because they make a deal with Stadia to put it there first, they can kind of prioritize their fleshing out bugs and the dev work to make sure it launches there first. But with CDPR, they have so many other consoles and getting it ready for
Right.
PC. It's like they have unless Stadia is going to put down the money to really incentivize them to like split off their team and make sure it works day one. They're gonna get to it when they get to it, just like I said in the article. But it kind of frames how these high profile studios look at Stadia. It's like kind of if you can make it, cool, but that's really not what we're focused on. We're focused on where the money is with console and with PC release.
Yeah. Yep. That's so I really yeah, it's too bad.
It's too bad. Yeah, I'm hoping that they get it going. With
Because
Stadia,
how am I gonna play this game?
yeah, exactly, exactly. That was giving me hope too. I mean, I got this
Yeah.
PC, but I'm not sure how it's gonna run. I don't have no hopes it's gonna run Cyberpunk very well. I guess there's a console version.
Yeah.
There you go. But yeah, I guess kind of puts into frame some of the issues with Stadia going forward. It's like because they don't have that huge install base, developers aren't prioritizing getting stuff there ready to go first. It kind of makes it, and then with the further in that article, they mentioned the fact that with Stadia, these games aren't cross progression. So if you do finally
Mhm.
get your version of Cyberpunk after you've played it on, say, PS4 or Xbox, you can't transition that progress. So it's like you're buying, and you have to buy a whole nother version of this game for Stadia. So it's, and then
Yeah.
if it's like 2 months after this game has come out that it's finally on Stadia, you kind of lose some of that incentive because you have other ways to play it and you can't move over that progress. So it's like, why am I going to pay another $60 for a version of a game I already have if I have to start from the beginning too? It's kind of rough.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many reasons why this would have been amazing on Stadia. The fact that it's a PC breaker, um, so people like me could play it that way. It seems from the little gameplay we've seen, it doesn't seem super Twitch action heavy.
Mm,
So if there is a bit of delay, it might not be huge. It seems more like the Deus Ex or like a almost like a Fallout maybe, where yeah, you don't aim doesn't gotta be 2000% perfect. Maybe we're wrong,
gotcha.
I haven't played it yet, and by we, I mean I, you didn't say any of that, but, not trying to throw you under the bus with me. We're all in this together. Um, yeah, so it could have been and yeah, even running on settings higher than your beefed up computer could do would have been cool too.
Right, right.
Doing
That's
effects that you can't do, yeah.
that's where the benefit of Stadia. That's kind of why I think it was really interesting for a lot of us because yeah, you can play games that you can't normally play if you don't have a PC, and you can have all the settings turned up, but you're gonna have to wait apparently, and that's assuming
Yeah,
the version of this comes out on Stadia is flawless and doesn't have any bugs. I didn't play the Doom version, Doom Eternal, but that was on Stadia, and I feel like people said overall it worked. I didn't hear any articles saying it was
yeah,
like it was a failure. So it is possible, and that's a hugely like fast-paced, twitchy game. So maybe it's just
yeah.
the CDPR needs the time to make the version, and that's all. That's the only big hurdle that they're facing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's I think you know what the thing I thought of though is so with Wave Break, it's a smaller game, so compiling takes long enough. And again, with games like this, you're not compiling that often. You're updating a lot of scripts and of variables. You're not doing a grand compile, but doing these updates is one thing when it's local on your rig. But if you
Mm,
want to test it, you gotta upload it. And so Wave Break, it's not going to take that long to update. This fucker though.
yeah,
Phew.
unless you can update portions of it, I'm not sure how that works, or it has to be the complete build.
Maybe
Or
kind of like a patch. Sorry, what's that?
go for it.
It's gonna be so nice when COVID's over and we can just be in the same
Yeah, dude,
same
I was
room
thinking
that's
that.
intended for.
Yep, I was thinking that recently. Like I need to get you back in here because man, it sucks doing this over over the thing, but it is what
Yeah.
it is.
We get our giant plexiglass
There you go.
wall
Yeah.
up. That shit's actually kind of spendy. I had to buy some the other day for work. It's
Oh,
yeah.
gotcha. Oh, maybe we
Are
can
the
make suits out of it or helmets out of it or something.
yeah. We got helmets. Do you at your work are you having to sorry to go off on a brief tangent,
No, go
but
for it.
are you having to wear masks inside now?
Yeah, so right now we're only takeout at the coffee shop that I work at, but so we wear masks, which is it's easy enough because it's only when people come in and it's not super busy right now because they just come in, take their thing, their drink, take it
Yeah.
out. Eventually, when we can open and have limited capacity, we're gonna have to have masks on the whole time, which might be a bit more uncomfortable. I've been like testing myself, keeping my mask on for longer, just like walking around the house, that kind of thing, just trying to get acclimated to it, to breathing that way, and it's mostly fine. I just haven't been able to experience like how is 5 hours with the thing, 6 hours with the thing
Yeah.
on. It's easy enough to go to the grocery store where it's like I don't know, a 5 minute trip, 10 minute trip, but it might be different when it's hours on hours.
Yeah. They're implementing that with us now too. Like if you're walking to the printer, you got to put your mask on. Like if you're outside of your cubicle. I
Gotcha.
know yesterday I had a homemade mask and it was fine, but I had it on for hours because I was in the car with my mom and eventually the moisture gets in it and it sticks to your face and that's where it becomes hard to breathe. But this was
Whoa.
a homemade mask. We now have some nicer ones like nurses would use at like the hospital stuff and hopefully those are more breathable considering these nurses are wearing them for hours and hours and hours a day.
Yeah.
Or we're about to find out the terrible shit they're dealing with right now. uh,
Yep. And they
that
got to
sucks
work
too.
that way. They got to do highly technical, important things while wearing the mask. Like, yeah, I
Right.
imagine it sucks. We did have there's this doctor comes in once in a while to the shop. He was mentioning it's common in their field to have, once you wear the mask and it's there for hours, you'll develop this
Yeah.
like ring, sometimes of like not bacteria, but like this weird impression. And if you don't
Mhm.
kind of air it out, it can kind of create this like red crease that lasts, for days from wearing the mask
Oh
all the time.
no.
But that's also in their field. They just have to have it and they're working super long shifts, and they often have
Yeah.
like other mask layers underneath it, over it. So it's a whole thing. But yeah, it's not very fun over there right now, I imagine.
Right. Right. Good get.
Yeah, but I
we're in
consider
the
myself
we're in
on
the
that
thick of it.
level. I consider myself at the coffee shop at that level of a doctor, of a nurse. So I can feel for them, because I'm also in the trenches with them, serving coffee, and so it's I understand.
I think that that was a fun one to find out. Like, I never thought there'd be a point in our lives where we had to go, okay, who the fuck is actually essential? And
Right.
it was one of those ones where like we shut down so many restaurants, but we're like, no, coffee shops, you stay the fuck open. We need
Yeah.
this country will shut down without coffee. Um,
Yeah, for reals. I mean, it's a essential addiction basically that we all have, need, and want, and good luck taking that away from us, man.
right. I actually had to do that today because we were out of coffee at work, and my eyes hurt.
Did you have to make coffee or get coffee or like beat up an old lady in the supermarket for some coffee, or what'd you do?
Well, no one's done like a no, I just don't have coffee. So,
Okay.
which is weird because I can do it fine on weekends, but weekdays, man,
Yeah.
gotta how do we survive? But gaming news, anyway.
Well,
Sorry,
Kevin.
I'm on a tangent.
No, it's fine. I want to know what's going on in your mind, Kevin. Our next one here is of the Outer Wild. So the Switch version finally came out. Apparently, it's dog shit, or it has a lot of graphical issues. So I wanted to get into that. The actual,
Oh,
yeah.
I saw whatchamacallit's breakdown. Who are the people on YouTube that do the
Oh, Digital Foundry. Yeah,
yeah, that was. I
I
know
haven't
that
watched the
it
whole
sounds
thing yet.
like yeah, it sounds like it to me. I haven't watched that much of their stuff, but it sounds like they don't really do reviews. But like this felt like a review
Mm,
because it was just like, folks, we got to be honest about how bad this is.
yeah. So, and also to put in context, because there have been other, big ports of games to Switch, and we all kind of knew we're gonna take a graphical hit, but like this one seems to be quite a big one. But Polygon has kind of all the ideas kind of in one spot. So the Outer Worlds, BioShock, and Borderlands show the good and bad of Switch ports. So this is Chaim Gartenberg of Polygon. It's still rare for the Switch to get blockbuster games that weren't made by Nintendo, but there has been a trend in recent months to port older games from the last generation of consoles onto the Switch. Last week's launch of The Outer Worlds, BioShock The Collection and Borderlands, a handsome collection, were some of the most high profile games to hit the Switch yet. And the result is a pile of great games that simultaneously highlight the Switch's biggest strengths and weaknesses. The biggest name in the batch is The Outer Worlds, which is actually a current gen title, having been first released for the Xbox, PS4, and PC late last year. From a performance standpoint, The Outer Worlds runs fine. It is certainly playable, which is impressive for a game that's so new and graphically demanding on other platforms, but the biggest miss here is the visuals, which are straight up bad. The Switch lacks the firepower to handle the game well. If playing in The Outer Worlds on a PlayStation 4 is like seeing regularly, the Switch port is a blurry, hazy world where you can't find your glasses. If you'd like a better idea as to how things stack up, I'd recommend checking out Digital Foundry's comparison, which gets in the details far better than I can here. Digital Foundry also reports that the performance starts to take bigger hits later on in the game. I haven't experienced this yet, having only played a small piece so far, but it's something to consider. So they also direct you to that Digital Foundry breakdown. I think to kind of pull out of it, I think we're going to experience this more and more as the Switch tries to handle these like current gen ports of PC games. It's pretty old technology at this point. It's amazing the fact they can do what it does, but it's going to really start to have a harder time, being able to play these older game or these newer games.
Yeah. Part of me wonders, so this is running on the same engine as the Outer Worlds. It's the Unreal Engine.
Mm.
And there have been we've had multiple Unreal Engine games with performance issues. So it kind of makes me wonder if the issue is legitimately the Unreal Engine on Switch. And it's fair, we're trying to use this super powerful engine on this little rinky-dink thing, but look at the glorious looking Link's Awakening,
Sure.
which, man, did it have frame issues.
Mm.
I don't know how much Yoshi's Woolly World did. But yeah, we've got a bit of evidence here, which is so strange when you look at there's a CryEngine game on the Switch, Warface, that supposedly runs like fucking gangbusters.
Okay.
So I mean, it kind of makes me wonder if it's like Doom Eternal was on my PC, where it's like, oh, the last one, which looked better, ran fine, but this one doesn't. Like, are we trying to pull tricks that we shouldn't pull? And that's what I think is happening. And that being
Mm.
said, like the Outer Wilds was very ambitious, very large environments. So it may have just been the game is too much for them. But I do think that the Unreal Engine probably is playing a part here.
Mm.
Because remember, Link Between Worlds, like, yeah, it was gorgeous, but it wasn't that gorgeous to be grinding this thing to a fucking halt. Or not Link Between Worlds, but Link's Awakening.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah, I wonder if, because we've heard rumors of, and some of the rumors ended up being true, like that Switch Lite model was rumored for a while before it came to fruition. Do you think there's a possibility of an actual beefed up Switch coming down the line, and maybe that's how they can keep, because they are trying to compete, and Nintendo really doesn't do this, where they lately with the Switch they try to be more competitive with current gen by having these ports. And it seems like, do they want to keep doing that, or do they finally stop? Because it's going to be harder and harder to do that unless they put out some kind of beefed up Switch model. I don't know if that's really where their strengths are. Maybe just keep doing the Nintendo focused development games and bringing all the indies over here, but maybe you stop trying to get
Yeah.
these demanding PC games over.
Right. And that's that yeah. But they had that issue with like the DS and the 3DS, and that bugged me like when I played Majora Mask on my regular 3DS as compared to my DS, whatever it is, new 3DS. And there were sections where it lagged, and it's like I know this wouldn't have lagged if I had the new 3DS.
Uh,
Or you just can't play certain games like Xenoblade Chronicles 3DS. Which now I can play because it's on Switch, although I do have it for Wii, but
oh, you're flexing there.
that I have it on the Wii.
Yeah. Mr. Moneybags. All right, watch out.
Well, we had to. That was the thing. When it came out, there was such a huge fan outcry to get that game to America because it was already localized to England, right?
Hmm.
So there was this huge outcry for years and years and years to try and get it to the Wii, and Nintendo just kind of had the same thing. If it's not going to sell, it's not going to sell. It's not going to sell. Then they brought it here, and so that was my thing. I'm like, they listened to us. We got to buy the shit, and that was a lot of other people's things too. So everybody bought it, and then this will be their third. This is their second re-release. They had that. They had the new 3DS, and then they have the Switch. So it's a decent
Gotcha.
game, if not audio repetitive.
On
But
the which one were we talking about?
Xenoblade
On
Chronicles?
Xenoblade. Gotcha. Yeah, I never played it.
Yeah. I don't think you'd like it.
Mm. Is it a
I
city builder? Is it a sim or some kind of Fortnite thing at all?
it's kind of like an MMO.
Gotcha.
But it's got a strong single player. It's not it is open world, but it's not super MMO. Or super open world. It's more using the open world so you just have a big area to go grind in. Um
Gotcha.
but huge environments, really pretty. But it's a lot of grinding. It's a lot of grinding.
Gotcha.
So
Well, no, like certain grinding types, like usually when you're grinding on me, it's fine, but any other kind of grinding, I don't know about that.
gotta get them dance floors open again. That's all
Yeah,
I gotta
I
say.
know. Getting thirsty out
We're
here.
gonna
All right, Gavin. So we'll kind of speed through these last ones here, but there's some news on Valorant. Well, really, Valorant came out, and I wanted to kind of talk about the fact that it actually launched recently. So
right.
Valorant is being prototyped for consoles, but it won't necessarily happen. This is of IGN's Wesley LeBlanc. Riot Games said Valorant is being prototyped for consoles, but that this doesn't necessarily mean the game is coming to consoles. Valorant was released on PC on June 2nd, and already its popularity has fans wondering about the game's current exclusivity to PC and whether or not the 5v5 tactical shooter will ever come to consoles. Valorant executive producer Anna Donlin answered this question by saying that a console version of the game is currently being prototyped. Quote, "We are definitely prototyping that right now," Donlin said in an interview with GameSpot, "but there's a way to play this game and there's a way to experience this game that we're not entirely sure translates completely to console play." Donlin said that the core of Valorant is the game's strong level of competitive integrity and that the team doesn't want players to feel the effects of unfair advantages from the platform that the game is played on. Players would need to feel the same Valorant experience no matter what console they're on, according to Donlin. Valorant came out. I'm not sure the overall, reception people are feeling. This is just a little bit of news on is there any interest in porting this to console, but I think this is so focused on PC gameplay. It's trying to tackle these other shooters. Like on the
Mm.
level of Counter Strike or other hero shooters, so I don't know if that gameplay translates the best to console. But what are your overall experiences and what are you kind of feeling right now with console with Valorant actually releasing?
I mean, I had a key for it a while ago, and I've still never played it. Do you have to pay money for this game? How does this work? I don't. I unfortunately, it really feels like the Steam kind of ran out before it got to the gate.
Think so?
Um, I mean, that's how it feels on my end. Let's go to Twitch and see how many people are even playing this right now.
Go for it.
Like, okay, so I'm gonna go on Twitch and I'm
Yeah.
gonna go to browse and we're gonna see how far I have to go. So each screen is 5 streams. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, Overwatch looks like it. Uh,
Okay.
6. All right, I found it on 7th. So, and that's 7K viewers.
Okay.
So this game just came out and it's doing okay. That being said, if this were on Mixer, 7K viewers would be a big fucking deal.
Yeah, shots fired there, Gavin. You're right. Do you think that some of the energy was lost in the way that they launched this thing? Because that was supposed to help with the hype by having this like exclusive to Twitch, where you can only get in by watching the streams. And did
Yeah.
that kind of hurt some of the launch of this? Because I think this thing kind of launched for me and came and went. Maybe it is more
Yeah.
popular within that community, but I don't think it's not just taking over the news as much as I thought it would.
Right. I don't think that's what did it. I thought that belt built hype because I was even excited about. I'm watching it because that's the longer you watch, the more chance you had to get it. So
Yeah.
I was watching a ton of it to just try and get that key. I wanted to jump in there and play, even though I don't play these kind of games. And then I got the key, I didn't play it. So that built up hype. Um, but yeah, it's a type of game that are you going to be able to move that Counter Strike crowd over there? I don't know that you're
Right.
going to be able to. Um, do they want to be moved? They said some of the right things with the anti cheat, but they did it in a way that people don't like. Their lag reduction. Um, so we'll sort of, um, yeah, we'll just sort of see. But
Yeah.
so far, I'm not. Streamers have kind of fallen off of it. Even at the top of its hype, when its biggest streamers, Summit 1G, basically called the community a bunch of phonies, and then just went off and started playing Sea of Thieves.
Oh wow. I wonder
So
if yeah, because they aligned with streamers, if that's what he was alluding to with the phoniness, if it's all people that are getting paid or
yeah.
trying to like do that play for a reason rather than the fact that they want to play this game.
Well, that and there's a lot of people that just do 24-hour streams of it, and like it's recorded footage. So you're there, you have your chance to win, but you're doing it in a very fake way. And
Oh,
yeah, so it was. I mean, I don't know if you want to call that a fake way or not, but I get what he's saying.
yeah.
Um, so
Do you think in that article they mentioned no interest right now in porting this to console, or they have like a version that they're working on? Do you think that helps build some of the hype? Is what's missing some kind of console equivalent? I'm thinking of like Overwatch. Did they launch with a console version, or was it just PC first and then they worked out a console version?
I could swear they launched with a console version, but the big thing was is the console version felt very different than the PC version, and that's okay. For like a competitive shooter, it's never going to feel the same.
Yeah,
But tons of people played the console version anyway. It doesn't matter that it's not the exact same. It's good. It's good. You're going to have a different meta because you can't move the way you can on PC, but that's okay.
yeah.
So I would have hoped they would have gone for it. But that being said, maybe they can't do the anti cheat the same way. Probably. Um, yeah, I don't know, but
Gotcha. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's
yeah,
the story's not over with Valorant. They just launched, so maybe they'll do some kind of next season or in-game event that will kind of bring back the buzz for it. And the sky's the limit with them. They just came out, so we'll see what they actually what they work on going forward. But
yeah. Can I really hate to pause it for 2 seconds, but something smells like it's burning.
okay, go
Um,
for it. Yeah, or you're having a stroke or something. How'd it go? Anything on fire?
no, it smells like maybe some toast got made and burnt.
Gotcha.
So that's my guess. So I think something burnt, but yeah, no,
Gotcha.
nothing's on fire. Everything's off.
Okay. Well, I'll give it. We'll end it here. Pretty soon, I'll let you go and see if the rest of the house is on
Sorry.
fire. No, you're fine.
Sorry to give you a bunch of podcasts that you got to edit before you put it on YouTube.
I'm used to it, man. That's part of the game. But so we'll end it here on their last article. It's just a really cool, dope story that came over the weekend. itch.io is selling a bundle of over 700 plus games for $5 to support racial justice and equality. This is Zach Zweisen of Kotaku. The indie game store itch.io has put together a massive bundle containing 742 indie games worth over $3,400 and is selling the whole thing for $5 to help raise money to support the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund and Community Bail Fund. The collection was launched 3 days ago to support the Black Lives Matter movement and has already raised an amazing $637,000. The goal is to raise $1 million over the next 9 days, which at this point seems very doable. All the funds are being split 50-50 between the two organizations. The game in the collection the collection range from full indie games to smaller projects and personal creations. The large collection comes from over 560 different creators and teams and might be one of, if not the largest video game charity bundle ever put together, and it will get bigger with 185 more games added soon. Some of the games in the bundle include indie hits like Oxenfree, Night in the Woods, Tonight We Riot, Super Hexagon, Overland, and Wide Ocean Big Jacket, just to name a few. The bundle will be available for another 9 days, and folks can pay the $5 minimum to get all the games, or more if they can and want to donate more. Yeah, that's pretty dope. It's a hell of a deal, and also it's going to a great cause, two great causes. So yeah, why not?
Also, I just want Tonight We Riot. So let's jump in
I've,
on.
I haven't played that. What is that?
Is it the one I think it is? Tonight We Riot. It's like a Pikmin almost, or like a Mighty Number Nine, or sort of in that genre.
Okay.
Tonight We.
Yeah, I'm looking footage of it. It's like a side-scrolling
Yeah,
kind of 8-bit thing going on.
it just looks fun.
Yeah.
Like super simple gameplay,
Is it
and
multiplayer?
I think it is. It looks like there's two flags. So
Looks like a Chinese flag, and then you're fighting against like drones and stuff. Is it
I'm not
or, like
sure.
different countries fighting each other, or just like a rebellion? Interesting.
I think you might be fighting against America. I'm not sure if you're Americans or if you're another country. But the
Gotcha.
gameplay just looks neat. There's not
Yeah.
enough of this type of game with this massive crowd management that's not quite an RTS. So
Hmm.
take it when we can get it.
Yeah. Yeah, great deal. I'm gonna make sure I get on that because I think at the point of that article it was like 9 days, but I think we actually have like 5 days left, so it's getting towards the end there. So
Yeah. Speaking
Gavin.
of bundles and gifts, I had a few, by the way. So you may have been you were gifted some in your Steam
You're right.
library.
I
So
forgot to download those. Yeah, so there was 2 games, right? What were the games again?
can't remember.
Okay.
They may not be the best games. You don't have to play them, but
I'll definitely try. That
I
sounds
wasn't going to
awesome.
play them. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that. Is it easy to gift stuff on Steam? I've never done that.
Yeah. The only thing I wish I'd let you do is put a bunch of games in a cart and gift them on over. So I had to do that one at a time, fill
Oh, yeah.
out the name, fill out your name, the message, and then my signature. It would have been way easier as a bundle.
Right. That really shows how much
So
you care about the person you're giving them to. Because if you tap out of like 1 or 2 games, you're like, I don't really give a fuck. Here you go. I'm not gonna individually send all these games. So that really shows I'm 2
right.
games worth in friendship for you, Gavin. That's good to know.
Well, I mean, it'd be a bigger deal. Like, yeah, if they were like expensive games, I could see it being a bigger deal. But when they're like
That's true.
smaller games, it's
Yeah,
sort of a.
it's cumbersome.
But you have a very, to my understanding, a very small Steam library. So we gotta build them libs.
That's true. I need a donation fund for me to build up my Steam library, Gavin.
Go fund me for my Steam
For games I'll
library.
never play on Steam. Yeah.
It's gonna be a you on GoFundMe with a ton of people with medical bills, and then just I want to build my Steam library.
Right. Hey, go fuck yourself, man. Get out of here.
Gotta get that over 100 games achievement.
Nice, Gavin. Yeah, that's it for us. We've been about an hour and a half now, so we'll end it here. Where can they find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at DrunkDevs.
Nice. You can find us on Plastic Card Pod as well. On Twitter, Plastic Card Pod as well. That's it for us this week. We will see you guys next week. Bye bye.